Can we zoom out a bit and just tell me what you thought about the brutality of those attacks? Because every time I'm reminded of what happened or I hear scenarios, it's just really hard to hear that and see that in this day and age. And I know there's a lot of pain and suffering around the world, but still that shocks me that was allowed to happen. What do you make of that? And was that part of the point? Were these supposed to be so atrocious so they would get the reaction? And then is this playing out exactly how Iran wanted it to play? And maybe Hamas as well?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that you're exactly right, Brian. I think that what happened here was it was a calculated play by Iran to support Hamas in a targeted attack that, of course, benefits Hamas's goal and mission. Their mission is to essentially eradicate the Israeli government that is holding the Palestinian people back. So that's their goal, their purpose. That's all they care about. That's all Hamas is focused on. Iran might have different goals. And one of Iran's goals is, of course, to create any kind of scenario in which the West looks like it's incapable or hypocritical in terms of what it tries to police and enforce in terms of democracy and fair play and equality across the world. So Iran knew that an attack by Hamas was going to force Israel to have a response. Hamas knew that they couldn't overrun Israel in one day. There's no way that they were going to cross into Israel, kidnap a few hundred hostages, and then see a transformation that they're looking for. It was not a suicide mission, but it was a very tactical incursion with a limited scope of outcome. They wanted to do something that was going to irritate Israel into making a response, but they knew they weren't going to win the war. What I don't think anybody anticipated, except for just a few of us, was that Israel was going to go so far in terms of the level of response that they carried out. And I think that's what Iran was counting on. Iran wanted to do something that was going to instigate Israel in such a way that Israel's response would be so overboard that the whole world would wake up to the fact that Israel is an oppressor and the United States backs Israel with total and complete hypocrisy to their policies anywhere else in the world. And here we are on November 24th, and that is exactly what's happening in the world. There is outcry across the world about the atrocities that have happened in Gaza at the execution of the Israelis using weapons and training that have been provided by the United States. People are calling it hypocrisy, the way that the United States has supported Israel in their attack against Gaza, but defended Ukraine in the attack from Russia. And why are some people getting funds and other people not getting funds? And how are we allowing 2/3 of all the casualties in Gaza have been women and children? How is the United States supporting that when they won't support the protection of and sanctity of life in other places? It's mind-boggling to see how well this situation, this conflict in the Middle East, has played out in the best interests of China, Russia, Iran, and the growing Eastern Bloc. In fact, we recently saw that the BRICS came out and officially took the side of the Palestinians. So now, in the eyes of the developing world, when they look at this conflict, it is absolutely a conflict where the United States supports Israel in their ongoing systematic execution of civilians, and the BRICS countries support Palestine in their endeavors for freedom and equality.
Okay, but
that's a horrible place to be.
But Andrew, I mean, what is Israel supposed to do? I mean, and again, I might argue that Hamas doesn't care about the Palestinian people, and Iran sure doesn't care about the Palestinian people, because both those organizations are willing to sacrifice millions of them just for their quote-unquote cause. And so what is Israel actually supposed to do? If you were on the ground in Israel, if you were in the government of Israel, would you really be doing something different? Could you honestly tell me that you could do something different based on the reaction of what happened on the 7th?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. So Israel had the opportunity to immediately see what this was for what it was, to see that this was an instigated terrorist plot designed to cause upheaval in Israel and cause upheaval in Israel's relationships with other Western countries. That's what it was. However, the attack happened at a time when Netanyahu was already unpopular among Israelis. So a lot of the reason that the overreaction has been so predictable is because Netanyahu was looking for a reason to highlight an outside enemy, because inside Israel, he was wildly unpopular. He's going through his own legal battles for corruption. You had conflict going on in the West Bank, like that
he was still elected, so obviously he's powerful enough to get elected, or popular enough to get elected, right?
So yeah, I mean, you can say that, but at the same time, we've got people who are popular enough to get elected in the United States too, and they're still unpopular.
Yeah,
51% is all it takes to be elected, and in a place like Israel, he was only reelected within the last few months after they had gone through 2 other prime ministers who had all had less than 1 year stints in office.
So what should they have done? Just sat on their hands and said, we're not going to take the bait, even if you slaughter like 1,400 people in the most gruesome manner. We're just going to realize that you're trying to bait us, and we're going to be really stoic. I mean, even
no,
I know you didn't want to compare to 9/11, but the U.S. did the terrible job of not overreacting to 9/11 all the way into Afghanistan, all the way into Iraq. So obviously, big nations do that all the time, right?
The United States absolutely overreacted to 9/11 also.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, how did anybody feel when we left Afghanistan in 2020-30? Nobody was happy with that decision, right? That's what the exact same thing happened. The United States was baited into carrying out war crimes in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that's exactly what we did. And then now you have the UN saying that Israel is carrying out war crimes in Gaza. That is exactly what we were baited into. What could they have done? They could have done exactly what Biden told them to do, right? Biden was like, don't overreact. Use your special forces, use your intelligence infrastructure, use your advanced weapons and your advanced technology, and ferret out the specific threat, rescue your hostages, neutralize key leaders, and cause some kind of disruptive effect in return. Do not turn this into an international tragedy that makes Israel look bad. That was the advice they were given by Western countries immediately after October 7th. But that's not what they chose to do, right? And again, it's easy in hindsight to say this stuff, and it's easy when you're not the corrupted, public-eyed, elected official who's also trying to retain power. There's all sorts of reasons that make it easy to say what they should have done. But we live in a world now where people and countries are provoked to take certain action because everything is so available. There's so much information. It's very hard to keep a secret these days. So when you carry out the serial bombing that kills 13,000 people, when you were only attacked once and you lost 1,300 people, that's not a fair fight. And in the eyes of the world, even in the eyes of the United States, Israel has been losing popularity among Democrats and Republicans as they have continued this systematic process, right? Like, you tell me what you would rather have. Would you rather have the continuing support of a country by taking a more measured approach to an outside threat, or would you rather ostracize all of your support by getting hyper aggressive in your response to a threat? Not to mention that what Netanyahu has claimed and promised he would do is basically impossible. He's promised that he is going to completely eradicate Hamas. It's basically impossible to do that. That is truly a goal that cannot be achieved, because as long as one person believes in the independence of the Palestinian people, essentially you have failed.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.